Feet okay. So the topic of this one is really about how marketing people, retailers are starting to use Pinterest as a promotional tool. Just like Facebook and Twitter, it doesn't take very long for people to figure out a way to capitalize on its potential marketing opportunities. So how many of you are using Pinterest for business? Yes? Do you guys use it personally as well? No? Just for business? So we're going to go through, I have 3 kind of case studies as far as retailers that are using it promotionally. A couple of case studies about how some brands are using it more as a source or a resource for information and those kinds of things. So first we're going to just start with a little bit of history about Pinterest. It launched about 2 years ago, and for the first 18 months it didn't really take off hugely. It started with about 2 million users, which you think about the fact that anybody in the United States could use it is not a whole lot of people. However, in the last 3 months, it has shot up. As you can see, the arrow just keeps going up and up and up. And it has become, I mean, it's basically exploded in the past couple of months. I would say 6 months ago, I probably hadn't really heard of Pinterest, and now it's everywhere. And where it came from, I don't know, but it's becoming a major, major tool in the social media world. In fact, a couple of months ago, it was announced that it became the 3rd largest social network in the United States, which is huge because it hasn't been around that long. So why does it matter to retail? These stats are actually incredibly interesting in our world. The fact that Pinterest is accounting for 3.6% of referral traffic, and the fact is that the people that are using Pinterest are converting into actual spenders. So shoppers referred by Pinterest are 10% more likely to make a purchase than visitors who arrive from other social networks. So that tells me we're all on Facebook, maybe we're all on Twitter, we're all using LinkedIn. Pinterest is converting more of those people into shoppers than any of the other networks. How's Pinterest different? Pinterest is, it's called, it's basically you go online and let's say you are planning a wedding. Or maybe you do something different. You're landscaping your yard. You're online and you see some great examples of landscapes that you like or flowers or things. You click on it, you pin it, and it populates to a board. So you collect all of these different images onto a board, and you can then go back and, whether it's crafts or recipes or fashion or whatever it might be, they're all kind of congregated into a categorical board that then you can go back and reference. So the way it's working for retailers is that people are pinning images of clothes or shoes or products that they like. They're finding new products from following their friends on Pinterest, and that's converting them to go and make purchases on those products. So in short, that's kind of how it works. We're finding out that people using Pinterest are much bigger spenders. They spend $180 versus $85 or $85 for a Facebook user. However, they're not engaging as much. They're not spending as much time on Pinterest as people are spending on Facebook, but they are spending more money. So we're going to kind of launch into a few marketing campaigns that have been on Pinterest recently. This was actually the first one that I ever saw. This is the first attempt that I witnessed of a retailer actually utilizing Pinterest for marketing capacity. It was definitely experimental. It wasn't a huge promotion. They didn't do a lot of marketing around the fact that they were doing it, and the prize was only a $200 gift card to Ann Taylor. So it wasn't like they were doing a huge rollout of a massive campaign. What they did was it was based around Valentine's Day, and they asked their customers or their fans to create Valentine's boards based on, or filling it with images that remind them of Valentine's Day or that are inspiring about Valentine's Day. The rule was that they had to pin 4 Ann Taylor products within that board though to be eligible. So what this does is somebody's going in and creating their Valentine's Day board, and it has hearts and flowers and puppies and kids and whatever else is in it, as well as 4 Ann Taylor products. So then those 4 Ann Taylor products are getting spread virally amongst all the other people who are on Pinterest. And it's sharing those products. Again, we've all heard that when you get a referral from a friend, it means a lot more than you receive in an advertisement. So when your friends are pinning items of certain retailers, they're looking at those a lot more closely than if they just saw it in an ad. I participated in the program, and I was amazed about how many people participated. The only reason I knew about it is because I was researching campaigns on Pinterest, and that's how I found it. But they had thousands of people enter. The way they monitor it is they ask the people that are creating the boards to use a specific title or headline. I think this one was something along the lines of Ann Taylor Valentine. And then they ask them to include a hashtag with each image that they pin so that they can go back in and search and find the boards that are being entered into the contest. Similarly, Guess just did a campaign where they asked people to create boards based on 4 new spring colors that they were launching this season. So people would go in, similar concept, they would create boards that were inspired by these 4 colors. Then they had style editors from several different publications judge the boards. The 4 winning boards, one representing each color, won a pair of jeans. They're not huge promotions, they're not giving away millions of dollars, but they're getting their products out there and they're associating this new color, this, what is it, purple color, and they're spreading the word about their new products, their campaigns, their, you know, new spring colors, whatever it might be, and they're converting into sales. So you might be getting those a free pair of jeans, but they're also coming in and selling a lot more of that product because people are finding it online. And this is actually one of my favorites. I think it was incredibly creative. BMI is an airline in London, and what they did is they created a Pinterest lottery. So the way it worked is they created 7 boards. Each board represented a different location that the airline flew to. So you have, you know, Beirut, Dublin, Moscow, London, etc. Within each of these 7 boards, they had destinations within those locations. And each destination has a number associated with it. So fans were encouraged to go in and repin up to 6 of these destinations at these locations, and then they would do a lottery drawing. And if you had repinned that number, you were eligible to win like a trip around the world or something. So they've been running this promotion now consistently. They keep adding more locations and more pins under these boards, but they've turned it into a game. What it's doing is it's, when somebody repins the destination, the image is directed to the BMI website or their Tumblr account that has more information about their airline, how to purchase tickets. All these, I love this promotion. You can do it for really inexpensive. The prize doesn't have to obviously be a trip around the world. It's a simple concept in the sense that you're encouraging people to repin, doing a lottery, and then awarding them with some kind of a prize. Yep. You know what? They have a stat in here. They don't do advertising at this point in time, but I'm sure it's around the corner. But they did just get $27 million in funding. So that's currently how they're paying for it. But other than that, I don't know how they necessarily make money. It's similar in the sense that Facebook, when they first started, how did they make money? Everybody was saying they were worth billions of dollars. It wasn't until they actually added advertising functions into their website that they started really making money. Still, the advertising is not that expensive, so they can't be making as much money as they're worth. So that's always the big question, is where are these values coming from?
Metrics for the 3 campaigns?
I don't. You know what? I know the Ann Taylor one had about 1,200 entries.
Metrics back for
Oh, you mean as far as like sales? You know what? Unless I call them and ask them, they don't really put their statistics up on the websites that I'm researching. I do know that they are continuing to run contests. So to me, that says that they saw some kind of return on the experiment. Again, it wasn't. The great thing about these campaigns is there's not a whole lot of risk. It is a $200 gift card at stake here. So run the promotion, get your exposure, get your products out there. You spend $200. If it doesn't work, then you're really not out anything. And if it does, it's driving people to your website, it's driving people to, you know, your products, then you obviously have some kind of return on it. But no, I wish I had more metrics. I know that the BMI one has been hugely successful. It's been featured in several publications. It was featured on a prominent morning show in London. So they've gotten a lot of exposure just by running the contest on Pinterest. So just talking in general etiquette, similar to almost every other social medium out there, you're really not there for self-promotion. You're there to provide some kind of a benefit to the user. That benefit to the user is then going to translate them into a loyal customer. If you're just sitting there bombarding them with advertising, they're going to walk away from it. If you add the Pinterest button to your website, it's incredibly simple. It's literally a drag and drop. That allows people to more easily pin information or things that are on your page. So for instance, we're a marketing company. We have the little pin button to our blog page, and then people can pin our blog, and then it gets spread through Pinterest. So again, making your content more easily shareable. You know, it's a visual system. It's all about pinning images and, you know, things that are appealing to the eye. So anything that you're going to encourage people to pin, you need to make sure it's visual. And on the flip side, if you're creating boards, they need to be visual. They shouldn't just be articles or blogs or whatever it might be. You need to have those images in there to get people to repick. Obviously, hosting a contest, we just talked about those. Showcasing your personality. On our Pinterest page, you know, we have everything from case studies of clients that we've worked with to locations that our staff has traveled with, you know, tips and recommendations on where to eat in different cities to, you know, pet board because we bring dogs to our office. So we really try and showcase not only what we do as far as services, but who we are as a company and what our staff is, and kind of showcase our personalities more through it. And then using hashtags, similar in Twitter, if you use hashtags, it just makes them more easily searchable. So then just looking at a couple of other brands that are using Pinterest in kind of a different way than contests. West Elm is one of the top Pinterest boards or brands using Pinterest right now. They've really figured out a way to provide a lot of valuable information to who they believe their target market is. It's not about pushing their products. They are really about promoting, you know, unique and cost-efficient ways to decorate your house. So they do have boards that have recommendations for how to, you know, mix stripes and flowers in the same room, but at the same time, they're promoting their customers' creativity as well by pushing Etsy projects or teaching people how to create, you know, a bathroom floor out of pennies. So instead of just pushing the product, they're teaching people how to do home decor projects or, you know, ideas on different ways to make your own curtains. What does that do for them? Well, it makes them a person become a brand loyalist, and they're coming back to the site frequently because they're wanting to learn more about it. In the end, do they have products in these boards? Absolutely, but they're not as obvious. And then similarly, Whole Foods spends a lot of time just understanding who their target demographic is and providing valuable information to them. So recipes, organic living, techs and gadgets that would apply to who they believe their target market is. They update their content very, very frequently. People are coming back to their boards very frequently. I mean, I had it up here. They have like 100,000 followers, and these people are constantly reprinting information. So what that do is just bringing more people back to their Pinterest page, bringing more people back to their website. It's the social sharing kind of gone viral, and it makes people become bigger brand ambassadors for those companies that they enjoy the content for. So that's the short end of the Pinterest craze.